Every 50 days, India opens a brand new airport. The country has ordered over 1,500 aircraft, more than almost any nation on Earth. Passenger numbers are exploding at 12% a year, and yet, at the airports that actually matter, the ones handling 90% of India's air traffic, terminals are overflowing, runways are maxed out, and passengers are spending more time on the ground than in the air. India is building airports faster than any country in history, and it still can't keep up. This is the story of the world's most ambitious aviation expansion, and why the math simply doesn't add up. To understand how India got here, you need to know one number: 74. That's how many airports India had in 2014. For a country of 1.4 billion people, that's roughly one airport for every 19 million citizens. Compare that to the United States, which has over 500 commercial airports for 330 million people. India wasn't just underserved, it was aviation starved. Then the government decided to change everything at once. A new regional connectivity scheme called Udan, meaning fly in Hindi, launched in 2016 with a radical promise: make air travel affordable for the common citizen. Subsidized tickets as low as 2,500 rupees, about $30, on routes connecting small towns that had never seen a commercial aircraft. The number of operational airports surged from 74 to over 160 in just 10 years. On paper, it looked like a miracle, but the reality on the ground was about to reveal a very different story. Here's what the headlines don't tell you. Nearly 6 out of every 10 new airports India has built handle fewer than 5 flights per day. Some see just 1 or 2. Airports built with hundreds of crores in public investment sight nearly empty, gleaming terminals with almost no passengers walking through them. The Udan scheme connected over 70 new destinations, but many of those routes were abandoned the moment government subsidies expired. Airlines simply couldn't fill the seats without taxpayer money propping up every ticket. The problem isn't that India built airports, it's that India built airports where demand didn't exist, while the airports where demand was exploding were left to suffocate. Delhi's Indira Gandhi International Airport was designed for roughly 60 million passengers a year. It handled over 72 million in 2023. Mumbai's Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj International is operating well beyond its intended capacity, with passengers routinely facing 2 to 3 hour waits just to clear security during peak hours. And the solution for Mumbai, the long-awaited Navi Mumbai International Airport, has been delayed for over a decade. Land acquisition disputes, environmental clearances, funding gaps, and political disagreements pushed its opening further and further into the future. But the crowding crisis at India's major airports isn't even the biggest problem. The biggest problem is what's flying toward those airports right now. Indian Airlines have collectively ordered more than 1,500 new aircraft. Air India alone placed an order for 470 planes from Airbus and Boeing in 2023, one of the largest aircraft orders in commercial aviation history. Indigo, India's dominant low-cost carrier, has ordered 500 Airbus A320neo family jets. Akasa Air, which only launched in 2022, is already planning an order for around 150 Boeing 737 MAX aircraft. These planes are coming, deliveries are ramping up year by year, and when they arrive, they need somewhere to land, somewhere to park, somewhere to board passengers, and runways that aren't already stretched to breaking point. Now here's where it gets genuinely alarming: India's current air traffic control system, its runway infrastructure, its ground handling capacity, none of it was designed for the volume that's coming. Annual passenger traffic sits at roughly 376 million today. The government's own projections say that number will reach 3 billion to 3.5 billion by 2047. That's not double, that's not triple, that's an 8-fold increase. Even the government's airport targets keep shifting. In 2024, officials said 300 airports by 2047. Then, the aviation minister announced 350 at Davos in January 2026. Weeks later, Prime Minister Modi raised the number to 400. The targets keep climbing, but the obstacles keeping airports from getting built haven't changed at all. Land acquisition in India is notoriously difficult. Environmental clearances take years. State governments and the central government frequently disagree on funding and location, and private investors who are supposed to finance much of this expansion are hesitant to pour money into airports that might never reach profitability. The Airports Authority of India's own draft plan identifies roughly 70 airstrips that could be upgraded to handle narrow-body jets and 40 more for smaller aircraft. But identifying sites and actually building functional airports are two very different things, and India has a long history of the gap between planning and execution stretching into decades. So what actually happens if the airports don't arrive in time? The consequences are already visible. Flight delays in India have become endemic, not because of weather or mechanical issues, but because of infrastructure bottlenecks. Airports like Bengaluru and Hyderabad are adding terminals as fast as they can, but construction timelines keep slipping while passenger numbers keep climbing. Airlines are being forced to reduce frequencies on routes where airports can't handle more slots. Some carriers have delayed aircraft deliveries because they literally don't have enough gates to operate from. The collision between 1,500 incoming aircraft and infrastructure that was built for a fraction of that fleet is creating a capacity crisis that no amount of political speeches can solve. And there's an even deeper irony at work. The airports India desperately needs, expansions at Delhi, Mumbai, Bengaluru, Hyderabad and Chennai, are the hardest and most expensive to build because they're surrounded by dense urban development with no room to grow. Meanwhile, the airports that are easiest to build, greenfield sites in small towns with plenty of empty land, are precisely the ones that end up handling fewer than 5 flights a day. India's aviation ambitions are real. The demand is real. Hundreds of millions of Indians who have never flown before are entering the middle class and wanting to travel by air. But building an airport isn't like building a road. It requires years of planning, billions in capital, complex coordination between federal and state governments, and most critically, it requires passengers who actually show up. India is trying to do something no country has ever attempted, building an aviation infrastructure for 1.4 billion people essentially from scratch in a single generation. Whether the airports arrive before the planes do will determine not just the future of Indian aviation, but the trajectory of global air travel for the next 30 years. If you found this fascinating, hit subscribe for more stories like this.